Nice. Recording right now.
All
BC,
right.
those fibs I pulled were back from the low in August 5th, 24, all the
Let's
way up
see where.
to the high of January 20th, 25. And they seem to be holding pretty decent.
Yeah, mine's pulled from July, so right around the same time. I just pulled it from the low of the like the range. There's a little wick that goes
That-
below it, but I pulled it from that. I'm assuming that yeah, the wick would have been where you pulled it from.
Right.
I pulled it from that next to low. If you pull up the weekly here, let me share that. Let's go with the actual trading view. There we go. So like I don't know how well you can see this, but I pulled from this low, so the low before the push up,
Gotcha.
and it's
Do you
it's
normally
pretty
pull
close.
from that? Do you normally
I
pull from the change of character there on that to because that's basically would be a higher low, right?
yeah, I normally pull from the low that changes. So
That
if I
change.
go on a weekly, yeah, if you go on a weekly, you can kind of see here that it's all just this is all ranging action. So I go from the low at the end of the range and then the move on up.
Gotcha.
So I'll hit the top of that. So if you
Okay.
kind of zoom it on into like that daily view, you can kind of see that that's all just a giant range there. And this is actually a lower low and not just like a wicking action because those candle bodies down here are closing considerably higher than these candle bodies down here.
Okay, so what do you? So then that brings up the question of what do you consider a lower low? Then you're going off the close
Yeah,
or off
yeah.
of the wick.
Um, this one is off of that wick just to kind of give me a little wiggle room on entries. But
Yeah, but I
normally,
mean, like, what would you consider? Because you said that it was an actual that's actually a lower low,
yeah, the candle bodies.
and so you judge your higher highs and lower lows and all that kind of stuff off of the bodies, not wicks.
Yes. So
Okay.
I pulled that from the weekly, and if you see on the weekly, your candle bodies here are
Gotcha.
way lower than these candle bodies here, which were just indecision candles.
Gotcha.
So that's why I
It's
go from
because you
there.
pulled the fibs from the weekly
Yeah.
that it's gotcha.
Yeah,
Perfect.
and it's just it's my more macro. My macro normally pulled from the weekly. If I'm going shorter term time frames, that'll be from a daily. If I'm going off of the range that we're in, so like I'll zoom this into like a 15-minute here, and then you can kind of go, we really got to zoom that in there. You can kind of pull from if you want to go your short term time frames, you can go from like your low here to your high here. Um, and then you can kind of see we're playing back at the bottom of the range, but we paused right there at that platinum pocket. We got a little bounce off of the buy zone that I talked about this morning, and we pushed up to the 382 of this and then rejected. So like it just depends on what kind of time frame you're looking at, but I like to look at those high term time frames sometimes because that's where you'll sometimes see those bouncing levels on your shorter term time frames.
All right.
So
Cool. Thank you.
let me invite some people to the stage. Melissa and Tyler. How you doing, Melissa?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, doing all right. I caught that little bouncing at the bottom of the range. That's kind of how we started the stream out. We were
Okay.
being a degen.
Yeah, I grabbed something also.
Yeah. Well, I talked about the level this morning. It was that if we don't hold that 90,000, like 91, that we'd probably come all the way back down to where we started that push. And that's that's basically what we did. None of the levels held. Oh, oh, see.
That guy is everywhere,
Ah.
man.
Yeah, I guess my close was spot on. I did not have like a real target. As soon as I saw that first red candle engulf the upside on the short term, I closed and it looks like it was the right move. We might get another little bounce, but I'm not trusting it. Those higher term time frames keep saying lower. There's still that CME gap below us to close. It's like half open.
I feel like the stuff that we were on board on for Friday, Saturday, where we all thought it was going to go down, we got that premature jump up because of Trump running his mouth, and it's going to keep doing the same thing it was doing. It just gave us the opportunity to make us more money in the meantime, right?
Oh, definitely. Here's the thing. Is so like news can only pump so much and it doesn't counteract your actual macro economy. The macro economy is crap and will continue to be crap for a while. And so there's no timeline on when they're actually going to buy assets. And like I said in the Discord chat earlier, if they're smart, they're going to be buying in the bear market. They're not going to be buying right now. Like, why would you buy Bitcoin at like 85,000 if you think the bear market's going to come down to like at least 63 or so?
Yeah, I'm not
Which I
looking for
know.
smart people. I'm looking for the fucking retards that are getting ready to hit spring break and want to make some extra money, and they're going to buy crypto like they did last spring break, right? I think it was like the day I was driving with the kids to Florida, the market's pumping like 30, 40% all fucking day long on everything. That's what I'm looking for.
I mean, like, I looked at some of your. Oh, this is off the hourly. If you look at that daily, like everything's down, everything it gained plus some. So like the trend is still down, and that was just a blip for the weekend. That was not a reversal of trend at all.
And it was done with no volume. So like there was nobody
Yeah.
big in the space buying anything with any money. You could push the market up with relatively low amounts of capital. Like if I had that kind of cash in a heartbeat, I would play that game.
Oh yeah, and I mean it's just market manipulation. It was a Sunday, no one was watching. Like I started getting alerts, and I was like, I'm busy with my girl. She's not feeling well. I'm not taking a trade. And I saw the news, and I was like, I don't think it reverses trend. Like you could have made a ton of money, but like it was not like a reversal of trend or anything. There was no like, oh, we're buying on this date or anything. It was just like, hey, I'm just gonna throw out some names of some assets. And honestly, the post that he did pissed me off. You said XRP, Sol, and ADA? The fuck? Like, where was Bitcoin on that? Where was Ethereum?
That was the
And like
follow-up post, man. He made it right. He made it
Yep.
right.
Yeah,
His
no, he
son
did it
told
as
him
an
also.
afterthought. Yeah, his son was like, "Hey, Dad, we own a lot of Ethereum. You forgot to put that on the list." Like that was all manipulation.
Pretty fucking awesome.
Well, I mean, like,
So when I was watching the crypto trade show, the one that TRADEFLY was on this morning with that group of guys that are doing the trading competition or whatever, some of them were talking about like there was some pre-talk at some of the Trump stuff. Like they knew that they were going to be able to buy in early on some of the Trump tokens, and they were saying, "Hey, is that something that probably could have just happened again before he made his announcement?" Do you think there was no shit insider trading going on that on that level of government?
oh yeah,
Of course
there
there is.
definitely is.
That's crazy.
My theory here, and I'm gonna be pulling out my tinfoil hat that I actually got here, it is that they're not yet ready to announce Bitcoin, because if they announce Bitcoin, they're gonna be already just following after whatever everybody else is doing, which is talking about the reserve Bitcoin that we all have been waiting for, right? I don't think they're ready to do that, because I don't think that they can pull or stick their hands or fingers, right, on that cake. If that, I don't know if that makes any sense. I'm just translating out of Spanish. So the point with that is maybe just let's just take liquidity out, whatever are orbiting around Bitcoin, right? Why could that be? That nobody's actually going to be just yelling about not actually pumping and dumping, right? Where we can grab some liquidity. And I think that's what they did. Basically was, little Trump, get as much as you can of this, this, and this, and this. Get a loan, put it into this, right? I made announcements, cash out the money, repay the loan, and whatever we got, it's for either family wealth, right? Or to inject into some politics or whatever is required, right? I don't think that's a state played out. I think that is paying back debts. If that might be your answer. For example, not exactly, I'm not talking about his son or anything like that, but like, let's just think it for a minute. If I had the chance to become, I don't know, mayor on my own city, right? And then as mayor, I can talk about, I don't know, the beaches that we have around here. Maybe my friends that have already bought some I don't know, land near the beach. And then I start talking about building roads near to that, right? It's gonna pump up the prices. Then they sell, then I never do the roads, and I just repaid him with that favor. So I think that's what's going on there. It's very common to see that. I mean, I cannot speak for the U.S., but I can absolutely 100% speak for Mexico because I've been involved on that, on those level governor levels of politics. So I don't know if I should be saying this on the internet, but maybe I'll cut this off. Yeah, man. No shit.
Well, honestly,
But go ahead.
I think a lot of that was to repay a lot of the loans that they took out to start their own crypto exchange.
Are
They
big
own
into crypto
ridiculous
exchange?
amounts of. They're linked to a crypto exchange. They have their own exchange,
Oh,
which
shit,
is
I didn't know that.
they have massive amounts of Ethereum.
I heard it wasn't quite up and running yet. I heard that was in the works.
It's like not necessarily fully running, but like they have an exchange, which is like mostly backed with Ethereum. Which is why I was like, how did you not say Ethereum? And then he said Ethereum. And like Ethereum didn't really get a move.
I think that's a cover up because if they would have said Ethereum, hey, I know what you're doing, right? You're pumping your own bags, man,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Let me see. What's it called? Because I know World Liberty Financial. There we go. It's a DeFi exchange that's owned by them.
Wow.
Yeah. Which backed with millions of dollars worth of Ethereum.
Literally living in idiocracy. You know that, right?
Yeah. Well, we have been for a while. Like, here's the thing: is you know the shoe that they all wore in that movie? They were Crocs, and like it's fucking insane that everyone loves Crocs now. It's like you're just proving the movie more true.
Never
I've
trust a
heard a
grown
bit
man
of
with
it. What, could you elaborate? I do remember seeing that.
So like they chose the dumbest shoe that they could think of specifically for that movie. They were like, "What's the dumbest shoe ever?" And it had just came out, and they were like Crocs. So they put Crocs on everyone's feet in that movie, and now look at us. Everyone loves Crocs. There's ad space sold on everything. You can't watch YouTube without getting 50 million ads. You can't hop on your TV without seeing ads. Netflix is trying to push ads. You can't watch Hulu without seeing ads. Amazon, ads everywhere on Amazon. Go on Facebook, ad space everywhere. You try to go on Marketplace, everything's an ad. We are living in that time frame, and it's just getting worse. Like
Yeah,
we're
actually,
surrounded by it.
I do remember that Netflix was the answer for Air TV, right? Not to be watching ads. That's the main point, to be paying a fee, right? And now they just become like, yeah, I mean, and that's what I hate about,
Bullshit.
yeah, they become bullshit because now you're paying, right, to see ads. And then if you don't
I'm
want
still getting
ads,
this really
you pay
stupid fucking
more.
commercial.
What is it?
Yep.
And then I'm still gonna watch these stupid fucking commercials. Yeah, I'm already giving
Yeah,
you money.
man.
Fuck you, Amazon and every other of these fucking streaming services. Cocksuckers, I tell you, man. And they did it
Hey.
just long enough to where they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we've now cornered the market. Nobody else is watching shit, so now we're gonna fuck you, bastards.
Yep.
Yeah, and I was saying that I pay for everything, Netflix, right? I even get 2, 3 times
Yeah.
Netflix just because, yeah, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
AOC,
Yeah,
can you not record for a second? I have a question
yeah, absolutely. 1 second.
about them Dodgers.
Yeah, well, talking about Bitcoin, PC protocol, what are you looking for Bitcoin right now? I'm a little indecisive. Let me show you my screen. It's a little spaghetti-ish, you know, I like that stuff. But I'm a little indecisive because for me, it's looking like almost a fat pause of downward continuation. Let me see if I can share here. So I'm trying to scalp. I'm looking at the 5 minutes. Oh. Am I still?
Oh, see,
Oh,
he
man, I
glitched
think
out
FBI got
super
me.
hard.
Ah, shit. Now I don't know
It
what
was all that
happened.
talk you did.
Yeah, man. Too top secret for the channel. All right. Sharing now. Maybe I can. All right. Yeah, seems like it. All right. So basically, this was ignore that box. It was a fair value gap at the 4 hours. I just keep it there for reference for tomorrow. But let me go to a cleaner chart. I think this is gonna be it. All right. Yeah, whatever. Let's just remove everything. All right. So we're back at this Wyckoff area, right? Where at least for me, that looks like a Wyckoff or at least a giant bearish pennant that ended up reversing, right? Or at least having, come on, man. Sorry for that. A fake out breakout to the downside or to the upside if you look at the other way, right? So basically break a fake out and then going back, and that usually tells me that we're gonna go lower or at least to this other side. Something that I'm a little, I don't know, confused about. We already are above the 0 line. We have a bullish divergence. We are not losing we're not losing the base in here. The trend line, it's pretty solid at this point. There we go, and we are almost about to break it. But if we break it, it's gonna be like either jumping, right, or leave it, because I don't think that we're gonna be crossing over this area right here, which is a previous Wyckoff area. This is what my brain is telling me, all right? But kind of like my subconscious is telling me, you know what? This is not it. This is the third and last drop before you find a double bottom. Because if I look at back, and I always talk about the first one, the second one, and the third one is the charm, right? So basically just wait for one more, find that breakout, maybe sweep of the lows, and then off you go with that big movement. So I don't know. What I'm debating here with myself, it is the area of volume that I see here. But I mean, since you were just trading on the, what was it, 5 minutes, right? I believe so.
Yeah.
What do you see there? I mean, of course that this is not a up or down question, but what do you see there?
Oh, I mean, it was all bearish. I just saw a level that we'd probably end up bouncing at, and all we've done is create an order block here. So like all of this, let me share the screen again. Let me get my demonstration tool on. Yeah. So all of this is now an order block, which we have now found the top of, which is the same top that we rejected off of last time. This is all an order block, which kind of leads me to think that we're probably going to come back down, retest our CME gap, and actually close it out. You've got your 50% fib line being the top of that CME gap. So you zoom this on out to your 4 hour back where you were sitting. We closed out our fair value gap that we made to the top side, and we have now made a fair value gap on the way down. Found a little bit of support here, but if you look at this 4 hour, money's flowing out, volume's slowing down. You now have your MACD line crossing your indicator line, looking for a strong move down. Kind of looks like you're probably gonna like do a little bit of waffling here and then come back down to close out this CME gap and that's where you're going to see that giant move to the upside. Kind of like you were saying. I had my eye on something very similar.
I see. So you're looking for possible pull up to the upside to grab some liquidity and then continuing downside, right? Nice. I
Yeah.
see.
So we already
Perfect.
grabbed most of the liquidity that was to the top side of us today when we over that weekend. There was a bunch of liquidity sitting up at the top side. We grabbed it, and now there's just the liquidity down here to grab before we move back up to all the liquidity that's sitting right here at 99,000 to 100,000. There's a like $200 million sitting up there.
You
So
know, yeah. You know what is moving at this point, and I was not expecting it? MKR is pushing it like right through this candle. One hour
Maker,
charts. Maker, yeah. I was looking for an entry, but still did not found it. I mean, we could have a big reversal right now, but I don't know. We're in red, we're below the zero line, but we have flip of the ribbon. I was expecting, there we go, a little bit more structure here, but it just didn't. It just click it and boom, going back into the next reversal area. We'll see. Maybe we can be taking a short, but I don't know. Seems to be having too much air here to be taken. So maybe I can wait as the same pattern of Bitcoin, maybe, where we start, you know, like I drew this chart. Let's go and take a look at there. That, sorry. And it was on the 4 hour, and I believe it was on this chart. Let it load. This one here. All right, so I could be expecting maybe some of this action here. The same, but in Maker. There we go. So I don't know. Seems to be a possible opportunity right there. I mean, pretty dangerous still, but could be a call right there.
I mean, I would just look to see if so like that's how I caught some IP uh price moves is I just waited for that price divergence. As soon as Bitcoin started going down and IP's going up, waited for it to do that retest, boom. So like you might try to look for the same thing because it looks like it's diverging. You've got
Oh yeah.
MKR up 3.4 on the hour, and you've got Bitcoin holding steady on the hour. So let's see Bitcoin compared to let's go MKR. And that's something I like to do with a lot of assets. Is like if I'm trying to find like a move, I just look for the divergence. And like it is clearly diverged quite heavily. Let's move that to a 1 hour. And then you can kind of see you've got that divergence quite heavily here. Because here's Bitcoin going down and then Maker going down same time, but Bitcoin not going up, Bitcoin moving sideways, Maker going up. So you might look for that retest. Cuz like this looks I mean it's a solid kind of flagging out here. You just made equal lows, whereas in Bitcoin has not really made those equal lows with its previous action. Because like look at this. This is all a downtrend, whereas in Maker has held steady. Solid opportunity there. Does anyone have anything they want to like take a look at or anything they want to like talk about?
I have a quick question. On your chart that you just showed on the left-hand side where you had BTC, what were all the dashed lines? What was that? It looked like a racetrack to me. Like, what
So
was that?
So I will zoom this on out and then show you on a higher
I
term time
apologize if
frame.
it's a stupid question, but
Oh
I'm
no,
curious.
it is a macro fib retracement pulled from the
Macro
beginning.
retrace.
Yeah, it's pulled all the way from the beginning. Back here after the halving, we made a giant ascending wedge. So once we made these lows back here, I pulled it from a weekly because that's actually the lower low. We were actually
Hmm.
talking about that at the beginning. This is a lower low with your candle bodies, though this did wick lower, but your candles are indecision candles. So this is what led to this whole move up. So you have that indecision sweep of the lows and then a push up, and that's where I draw my fib retracement from, and then that just kind of sits there to kind of find some key levels. So like
Okay.
you saw us try to hold that 236 back up here at 95, and then that's kind of where I draw a lot of these key lines from as well. You go to these higher term time frames, you have these very equal wicks here. That's where I drew that $91,000 range, and that's where we saw a lot of action the past several weeks or so. We got a lot of play off of that. And then you kind of drop back down here, you see us trying to hold this 382. So like it's all macro levels, but sometimes they're nice to play out on those shorter term time frames.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Yeah, no, my dashed lines are always going to be fib retracements, and my dotted lines are always fib extensions. So it's just a way for me to keep it organized for myself. I normally it just depends on what the trend is. If the trend is down, then I'm gonna leave my fib retracements on, and it'll just be dash lines. Whereas, and if the trend is up, then I'll have my fib extensions played out. So like gold, if I hop over to my gold chart, because it's back in an uptrend, I have my fib extensions drawn out instead of my fib retracement. And that'll give me the more levels to kind of play off of. Here, I'll show that. There. You can kind of see this is the dotted line. So
Okay.
this will be a macro, and it just goes off of what the trend is. Because whatever the trend is what you're going to get the play off of. So because we're in an uptrend, I got it pulled from the low down here towards our high here, towards our low that we made down here, and then I'm just watching it. We did get a little play outside of the range, but it was nothing I wasn't expecting. I was looking for that 2,834 to get that strong pushback into our fib extension range, and we're now trying to hold that 236. So zooming on into a shorter term time frame, and you can kind of see all the play that you get off of these levels. You broke above your zero line, you got that strong push off of it, and now we're playing with that 236. You can kind of see we rejected very strongly off of it here, tried to get that pushback up to that 236, really got that strong rejection. You got your 50% up here, which gets a lot of play. But like, look at this solid golden pocket rejection on a 15-minute. Like, literally wicks straight off of it. So it just depends on what the trend is as to what kind of fib I'm gonna play with. So
And where are you trading your gold? What platform are you using?
I just use Webull.
What is it? Weeple?
Webull.
Weeple. And you can do that in the US?
Yep. It's a New York. It's a New York-based company. I like them more than Robinhood. I had a lot of problems with Robinhood back in 2020. I lost out on like $12,000, and never trusted Robinhood since. I've had zero problems with Webull. Back at I think it was last year when GMC was running and Robinhood kind of did their little iffy shit all over again. Webull did not stop trading on GMC. If you wanted to cash out, you could cash out. They also have paper trading, which Robinhood does not. So if you're trying to have a little fun and just kind of mess around on TRADEFLY, which I do sometimes, but mostly that's specifically where I do all my TRADEFLY. You
So
can
it's
trade
Webull,
futures.
right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
Webull.
yep. And they've
Okay.
got
Okay.
a nice they've got everything that you can do on TradingView. You can kind of do on your Webull platform. So
Sure.
they have very, very high level charting, whereas in Robinhood does not. Robinhood is for like your dummy, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh look, I have moving averages.
Hmm.
Like,
Okay.
okay. Whereas then like I can draw a fib extension on my phone on Webull and it's immaculate. So
Really? Hmm.
yeah, and they've got a nice computer app as well. So, and they'll all sync up. So if I draw something on my computer before I go to work and then I pull it up on my phone, it's all synced up. So, very nice.
Mm. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem.
On a new trick that's been able to help me keep my trades longer.
Yeah. What's that?
Using the dynamic bands on the 15-minute chart and using the 3-minute dynamic bands. And I keep my stop loss up above that dynamic band once I get the first move. And it usually doesn't come back and break that thing until the move's actually over. So it's given me the ability to hold the move a little bit longer for myself.
Uh, Dynamic bands. Is that one of the indicators with Chart Prime?
Yeah. So if you go to Chart Prime and then scroll down and it says like bands, and I do a quantum band, and I do it on a 3-minute, and then you use that on the 15-minute chart, it's giving me a pretty good layout of when I need to get the fuck out of a trade. And it also gives me a signal like I was using the clipping along with like when it breaks the band and actually like pushes a candle wick through the band, that's usually the spot to jump into either the long or the short, whichever direction that you're biased in.
You'll have to. I only have the Prime Plus indicators, so you'll have to show me that.
What?
Yeah, I don't actually pay for Chart Prime. I'm very low level.
What the
I don't need them.
Somebody slap
I
Piper
don't
in the
need.
mouth. Come on now.
I don't need. So like my thing is I still only use like 3 of the Chart Prime Plus indicators, and I use them rare because like I had a trading style that worked. And so to me, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
The only thing I've really done is I added the Prime Oscillator Pro as a replacement for my RSI because it's a very high level momentum as opposed to your RSI kind of very low level. So like that was a nice replacement, but other than that, I'll kind of use the volatility breakout indicator, but like that's a little bit laggard for me. So I don't know. I like moving averages. I like my fibs. I like my MACD, and I like a momentum. I keep it very simple.
Nice.
Yeah, I tend to overanalyze with my indicators and stuff. Like trust them a little bit, and then I'm like, oh, this one looks like it's gonna go good, and that's, you know what I mean?
I totally know. Because when I first started out, it took time. Like, I've been trading since high school. So I've been at this for almost 15 years now. And it took
Yeah,
me a while to find those indicators that work that don't have me over analyzing things. Because,
yeah,
I mean, you can have a chart that has all the analysis in the world, and then you're like, but I don't know. It's like this says up, this says down, this says sideways, and this says that it might pump. So like, what do you go off of? I like to go off. I like to have 3 things. I like to have levels, and that's my fibs. I like to have momentum, and that's going to be either that's my Prime Oscillator Pro now. It used to be the RSI, and then I have trend, and that's normally my MACD. And those three together kind of set me up quite nicely.
Yeah, because I watched the Prime Oscillator Pro and then the RSI, and they're kind of similar, but the Pro seems to front run it a little bit.
Yes.
And I kind of get confused.
Yeah, so the other thing you can do is you can tweak your RSI just a little bit. I always tweaked my RSI to kind of
Yeah.
get that little front run, but even off of my tweaked RSI, the Prime Oscillator Pro beat it out. The
Right.
Prime Oscillator Pro is also a very smoothed RSI. So you don't get a lot of those jagged up down, like, oh, is it actually going down or is it actually going up? You have that very smoothed line so you can kind of see, oh, trend's actually about to reverse. That's why I like the Prime Oscillator Pro, and that's why I use it every single day and I use it on my show. I also like that it shows a money flow and volume without me having to look at order books and things like that, which are also a key part of trading.
Right. On your money flow, do you use trend lines at all on your money flow? Or are you just kind of looking at?
I do sometimes. It it more on like the shorter term time frame. So if I'm
Okay.
trying to see that break of trend and money flow, it's like, okay, if you zoom this money flow, because it's very smooth on those long term time frames. But
Yeah.
if you zoom this on in here, say the 5 minute, let's share my screen. All right. So here's our money flow indicator down here. You can kind of see bottom. You've got a nice little top here. You've got a bottom which is higher than the last one, and that shows your little reversal of trend. That doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin itself is going to reverse, because as you see, it didn't. But like
Yeah.
it's a nice indicator. It shows you more sideways momentum here if you kind of move up to a higher term time frame and kind of look, oh, what's the money flow here? Oh, it's still in the negative. So like
Gotcha.
your money is still flowing out, but on your shorter term time frame, you can kind of see that that slow up is slowing
Mm.
down quite a bit. So it gives you that potential to see that reversal, and as you can kind of see here, we're kind of seeing a little bit of a reversal. And that's where I had that potential target for a 382 and to come back down.
Hash rate is dumping like a son of a gun today, by the way. We're all the way down to 701 million.
I'm not surprised. It's not profitable. To mine Bitcoin right now at profitability, you need to be above $94,000.
Oh man, if you're mining using three-phase power and you're running like the S21 or the S21 Hydra or whatever, the Hydra is running with crazy numbers right now, especially since you can overclock them since you're running the water through them, right? So you can get 25% more hash out of the machines. And with the hash rate dumping, like you can really, really make some gains right now.
I'm just saying on average. So like the global average is you need to be above $94,000, which is why you're seeing a lot of miners shutting off.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're using like and the cost of power, right? So unless you've got a good
Yeah.
cost on power and you're brokering your power, and then you're stepping up that power to either use a three-phase or something like that, just regular old 220 off your dryer, it's not getting it. It's a losing proposition right now.
See, and that's where I don't know. If I can get my house this year and kind of set something up with solar panels off grid, I might mine some LTC.
LTC, really? Wow.
Yeah. Do you know how much you just get a few thread rippers and you chain them together? Solid.
Hmm.
Because all it uses is CPU. You don't need a GPU. The most expensive part of a computer is a GPU. I've got a fucking 570 in there that would display graphics to a screen for me to check up on. But like 4 CPUs off of a Threadripper, golden.
Nice.
Mine a little bit of Doge at the same time, you're fine. And that'd all be bear market activity. Run it off some solar, so I'm not actually paying any money for my energy. It's all free.
Yeah, but that solar ain't cheap, bro.
Up front, no. But like, that's the least of my worries.
Right. And you get some good deals with the solar panel packages now, where they'll give you pretty good deals on stuff and do long-term payments.
Mm-hmm. That would
And
see, and that's you can get a loan here, very easily just because of what they're trying to do. So like, they would prefer you to be solar powered, so they'll give you a loan very easily at low rates. They'll also give you a tax rebate. And then if you're not on the grid, then you don't have to sell your power back to them. And so with my extra power, why the fuck not mine?
makes sense.
Nah.
So you can go direct to from your units right into like a phase power adapter and inverter, stuff like that. So you can do some of the bigger machines instead of doing the smaller 220s as well, just so you know.
Oh yeah. But I mean, here's the thing: is so with a thread, that's I would just be using thread rippers to start because you don't need specialized machinery to mine LTC. So like, you just pair 2 Threadripper motherboards together, you have 4 CPUs that are just doing crazy retarded work. Cause like that's what they're built for.
Right.
So like, you would just need some like probably water cooling on it, and that's about it. That'd literally be the most expensive part beside the CPU.
I personally
I'm like,
love mining. I think it's the best way to DCA. I don't care what anybody says that, whatever. Mining is the best way to DCA. Because, like, dude, even if you are just using a regular old S19 or whatever, like, you won't notice the amount of power it costs you, and you're going to be constantly putting Bitcoin in your pocket. So it's like the easiest way to DCA. It just makes sense.
mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it just depends on what you're mining, though.
Yeah.
That's the only like if I have full faith in LTC going into the next cycle. So that's why I was looking at mining LTC and maybe BCH. But like BCH is kind of at that point where like you might need a specialized machine. I just have to dive into it on its on in the bear market and kind of see if it's actually worth it. Because like I know you can still chain some GPUs together to mine BCH right now, but it's
Yes.
where is it gonna go?
BCH, man, I hate BCH. But we'll see.
It's a so like honestly, I don't hate it. It has its place where if you're going off of the original Bitcoin message, which was peer to peer, then BCH does it very well, and its price is quite low to be able to handle peer to peer. And it also does it quite a bit quicker because its blocks are 8 megabytes instead of 1 megabyte. That's why LTC is also very great for peer to peer. So
Yeah.
if you're off of the actual crypto message, then BCH is more Bitcoin than Bitcoin is. But if you're going off of
I don't know.
what
I will
makes me
debate that, but
what makes me most,
but I get what you're saying.
I mean, so like, why are you in crypto? Are you in crypto because crypto is going to give you freedom and it's peer to peer and you're your own bank, or are you in crypto also because crypto is going to make you money?
I mean, for the money first, and second, because I just want to see fiat tumble down. I mean, call it anarchy or whatever, but that's what I want to see. I really don't like the idea of fiat and how countries can take everything out of your pocket if they wish, right? So,
1000%, bro.
yeah.
So then you should love BCH. You should love LTC.
I love
You should
LTC.
like H bar. Yeah,
I
all of
like
these
H bar.
projects that are actually yeah. So like
Yeah.
all of those are actual real world projects that have real world potential
I even
for
like
replacing
Tron
fiat.
above
That's a
a
solid one.
BCH. Yeah.
I'm surprised. Well, Tron's got a lot of potential for other areas, but
Oh yeah.
if you want to see fiat get toppled, BCH, uh, LTC, you have a few other ones along those same lines that are forks of Bitcoin that actually have that real world use case of being peer to peer and allowing you to be your own bank, which that's the big issue we're seeing in Congress right now. You have a lot of bills on that debanking issue. And so
Absolutely.
that's what I've been watching.
I think that is still kind of like you know, like when BCH came out, and I don't even remember this guy's name, that he was preaching that he was owner of Bitcoin and he created it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
but BCH
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
real BTC, so and so forth. I think I got a little mind stock on that part, right? I mean, you already have. You're right. I mean, I cannot deny what is obvious, right? It is faster. It is cheaper. It is very appealing to maybe a maximalist, right? But I don't know. Something. I mean, such a shady person to go to extent to say all of those nonsense for the mass to try to adopt his token. For me, it always in the back of my head told me that this guy has a hidden code or something that is gonna just pull it in the worst case scenario. I
In
mean,
English, it's called a hidden agenda.
yeah,
So
I
like the
think
thing
so.
about the thing about BCH is BTC. The only difference is the block size. That's it. It's the same code.
I cannot debate with that. I have not even looked at BCH code. I just have lightly read about it, right? And lightly trade it. When I see some, you know, like hot topic or something talking about it, I just kind of go inside it. I mean, you can see the code absolutely, but I mean, do you think? And this is a question, another question. Do you think that could still be a, I don't know, a hidden switch for him to just lock it or something?
I mean, if it's not in Bitcoin, then it's not in BCH. That's the thing. Is like that's the whole like here we go. I've got a whole giant thing on it. Let me share this. So I don't know if you can actually read this, but so this has all of the forks of Bitcoin. So you've got 2011, you have Litecoin made, which is not an actual one-to-one fork of Bitcoin. You were not able to give your Bitcoin over to this new one. They started a whole new chain, which used SHA-256. Bitcoin uses SHA-256. They use Script, which is a faster running algorithm, which means that you only need the CPUs. So you had Bitcoin XT, which meant that you could give your Bitcoin over to this new protocol and get a one-to-one transfer with Bitcoin XT. Same kind of thing. It increased the block sizes. So the only difference between Bitcoin and Bitcoin XT is the block size. Same with Bitcoin Cash 2017, Bitcoin Fork. You give them your Bitcoin, they give you BCH, they sell the Bitcoin, and then that kind of funds that whole thing. The only difference was the block size from 1 megabyte to 8 megabytes. Same kind of thing. It was this was the whole Bitcoin battle area where it's like, what is the direction of Bitcoin? So you have a certain group of miners and a certain group of nodes that voted for said operation. They split off using the same code, and they just made one adjustment, and that was the 8 megabyte block that got voted onto their chain and approved. And so it is essentially Bitcoin. It is just a variation of Bitcoin. So
Nice.
all of Bitcoin, so Bitcoin Cash's transactions, they start at a certain point, but if you go back far enough, that's all BTC transactions.
Because
Because
there's a
they
hard
were
fork of
doing
it.
the same thing. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is Bitcoin. It is just a Bitcoin with one thing changed. You could see Bitcoin make the same change if enough of your miners decide that they're going to vote for that. So
Absolutely.
it'd be no different. Well, it's like, okay, say we want to go to 16 megabyte blocks because Bitcoin's too slow. You don't need layer twos. It kind of negates a lot of these problems. What do you want? Do you want Bitcoin to be peer to peer? The problem right now is the people that mine Bitcoin and the nodes and all of that operate Bitcoin, they don't want Bitcoin as a peer to peer. They want Bitcoin as their moneymaker. So that's the difference. Whereas in BCH, they want BCH to be that peer to peer of Bitcoin's original white paper. And as you've seen technology progress, there is the need for faster and faster transactions. Visa handles 3 million transactions in like a minute. Bitcoin will never do that. So Bitcoin will never be money.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have no doubt of it. I mean, Bitcoin will be like the gold, like reserve of value. And we still yet to be discovered what we're going to be using as a token. And what I believe that's going to be just like fiat or very close to it. But as long as we go back to the one center value that refers the actual value of your coin, just like the gold standard was, I'm okay with it. That's what I don't like about fiat. That is not the gold standard anymore.
Oh yeah, it hasn't been for a while, and the fiat
Oh,
system
yeah.
is broken even before tying to gold. But like, what really showed you how broken it was them depegging it from gold. Because there were times where, okay, it's backed by gold, but they'd overprint currency.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, that's when you see currencies massively deflated because you don't have that one for one. So like the fiat system was always made to be broken.
Oh, yeah.
It was literally designed that way. Yeah. Which is why that's why I'm a Bitcoin maxi.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Which is also why I was a little mad when Trump was like, yeah, we're going to do a crypto reserve, not a Bitcoin reserve. I'm like, you
Oh, yeah.
motherfucker. I thought you were going to peg the dollar to gold.
Oh, shit.
But at least he didn't name like some like crap projects that haven't been around. He named projects that have been around.
Yeah, I mean, bad would be, like saying that, all right, you know what? Trump coin is going to be the new reserve.
I think I would leave crypto at that point. I'd be like, okay, Good Morning Crypto is now Good Morning TRADEFLY.
Oh, man, yeah, absolutely. Oh. Well, guys, I do have to leave at this point. I'm going to be finishing the recordings for now. I'd let you guys to continue if you guys want to.